everyone, what's happening? It's Richard here. Welcome to another episode of Comics. So hello everyone, yes, welcome back to another episode of Comics, and I gotta say this week is a big week. A big week specifically for DC Comics because their first big crazy crossover event is finally here. And of course, I'm pretty sure you know I'm talking about Trinity War Part One. So basically what I'm saying is, this is the big top dog, you know, Granddaddy Marshall book of the week for me to review, so there you go. But as usual, before I get to that book, I got some other stuff to talk about first. The first comic I'm going to review is Puppy Number One. So Puppy Number One is basically this big old comic about this puppy that runs around and pees in my bed. And then thinks that because she's so freaking cute, she can get away with it. But spoiler alert, she doesn't. Nah, I'm just kidding. That's not the first comic I want to review, but at least you got to see a cute puppy. That should get me some views. No, but in all seriousness, the first comic I'm going to review for you guys is Batman number 22. So Batman 22 continues the 0-year storyline that Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo are telling. Specifically, the story centers on the conflict between, the battle, if you will, between Bruce Wayne and the Red Hood gang. And, you know, honestly, while I do really enjoy the Red Hood aspects of this book, I think it's really cool. The one story beat that has me really freaking intrigued is Scott Snyder's take on the Riddler. He was basically the big surprise character at the end of the first issue, spoiler alert. And since he's been around, every time he shows up, I get the most invested and the most intrigued and the most excited when I'm reading this book. The other aspect that I'm really intrigued by is the early day relationships between Alfred and Bruce. And Alfred really takes center stage, and you know he has the crowning moment, I think, in the entire comic. And as usual, Greg Capullo knocks it out of the park. His illustrations are the best of the best. What more can you say about Greg Capullo? At the end of the day, this stuff is good. Next up, I'm going to review for you guys Batman 66, number 2 digital comic by Jeff Parker with art by Jonathan Case. If you remember from the last video, I called Batman 66 my book of the week. This week, while admittedly, in my opinion, not as strong as last week, this week was still an amazing, holy crap, fantastic issue of Batman 66. Again, you know, Jeff Parker, you know, I love the fact that he's completely celebrating the 60s television show, but at the same time he's also celebrating the 60s era of Batman, and he's even putting in his own, you know, touches and influences into the story, and it's amazing. He does such a great job with it. Jonathan Case just makes this book so much cooler with his amazing retro style art, and you know, oh my god, you just have to see it. I can't even describe how awesome it is. Next up, we have Hawkeye! And if you're a fan of this series, you know you're not really supposed to call it Hawkeye. You're supposed to call it Hawk Guy. That's the proper name, in memory of Grills. Love you, man. So Hawkeye is usually known for being more of a comedic series. It's more of a fun series, if you will. But every now and then, an issue in the series will take a little bit more of a dramatic turn. And that's what Hawkeye 12 is. It's more of a dramatic issue of the series as opposed to, you know, its usual fun, crazy, you know, tone. And what really sells the drama in this story so much, in my opinion, is the artwork by Francesco Francavilla, who draws the entire issue. I mean, the cover alone should give you some indication of how amazing the art's going to be in this issue. I mean, it's amazing. Next up from Marvel Comics, Indestructible Hulk number 10. So this issue, I believe, either ends or continues. I'm not really sure, but I know it's the continuation of the Daredevil Hulk team-up story that Mark Waid was telling. And you know what, guys? I'm just going to be flat out honest right now. Artwork in this arc right now, fan-freaking-tastic. I absolutely love it. But at the same time, I just am not really caring for the story that much anymore. I mean, issue after issue after issue has kind of just started to downgrade for me in the writing department. Also, something that's kind of irking me is that, and I don't know if this is just me or not, but I just feel Bruce Banner is like a giant asshole. I mean, pardon my language, but I think he's kind of a giant asshole. Maybe it's because he's angry all the time, you know, maybe because of that whole thing in the Avengers. I don't know the whole deal, but all in all, this series is kind of turning me off a little bit. Next up, we have Superman Unchained, #2 by Scott Snyder, Jim Lee, and Dustin Nguyen. So the debut issue of this series was amazing. Oh my god, it was so good. And I'm happy to say that issue 2 continues that very review of the first issue, because this issue is amazing. And, you know, all of it is fantastic. Scott Snyder continues to do an amazing job with the characters, and I would argue that he writes Superman just as well as he writes Batman. The art that Jim Lee's producing in this series, in my opinion, is the best art I've seen him do in a very long time. And you know what? I would even argue this issue's a little bit better than the first issue. You know why? No poster! I mean, don't get me wrong, the poster in the last issue was cool, just it was such a hassle, and I didn't want to have to worry about ripping my comic. And finally, the last issue before the big issue this week, True Lies of the Fabulous Killjoys, #2. Boom! So Killjoys, alright, Killjoys, amazing. It still continues to be awesome in this guy's opinion. In this issue, Gerard Way and Sean Simon build up the world more of Killjoys and you know, the many aspects of it. Plus, we learned a lot about 2 specific characters. One we've met before, one we've never met before. Another really cool aspect we get to see is the Scarecrow unit. Something I was kind of confused on, and I'm glad they kind of touched on it in this issue. And it's pretty interesting stuff, man. And of course, I can't not talk about this comic without talking about Becky Cloonan and her amazing artwork. Again, I just can't see anybody else drawing this comic other than her. She is the pitch perfect choice, so I'm so happy. Alright, now that I've reviewed those books, it's time to get to the Granddaddy Marshall of the week. Trinity War Part One, aka Justice League #22 by Jeff Johns and Ivan Reyes. So this is the thing DC's been building up to ever since the frickin' beginning of the New 52. Ever since the New 52, well, ever since Flashpoint ended, really. When it comes to events, and this is, I'm pretty sure this is a common opinion, but when it comes to events, I try not to get too excited no matter who's doing it, because the thing is, event comics are always a gamble. But you know what? I am surprised to say, and I'm happy to say, that Trinity War actually has a pretty darn good start-off point. This is actually a very good debut issue for this whole event, and I'm actually excited for more after reading it. First of all, Jeff Johns does a great job with the characters. That's a big thing that he does with this first issue, and all the characters are fantastic. Also, it doesn't hurt that the book is drawn by Ivan Reyes, who really freaking delivers in this first issue. I mean, it's pretty spectacular. Trinity War Part 1 is a great setup for hopefully what could be a pretty good, if not a great event. So there you go. I'm actually pretty happy with this. Any hoozles, that's about it for me. In the comment section below, what books did you guys get this week, and what was your favorite? For me, I'd probably have to say my pick of the week is actually a tie between two different books. Batman 66 #2 and Killjoys, I think, were probably my 2 favorites this week. Both of them fantastic, and for their own reasons. So anyways, as usual, don't forget to like this video, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, directorscutradio.com, and Tumblr. Links are all down below. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like what you see, and favorite the video because I like it when you do that. And I'll see you guys in my Pacific Rim video. Bye now!